Hey there, happy day 1118. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, documenting my journey, mostly my business journey, as I transition from the offline brick and mortar world to the online world. Transitioned a couple years ago, I guess. I started exploring the online world in 2017, and in 2018 probably really started doing anything online. Kind of spent a year learning and trying to figure out and navigate, and got stuck in those learning loops where you're learning, but you're only applying something here and there in such a misfit way that you're not getting results. It wasn't until 2018 when I really started just stopping all the learning and saying, this is what I'm going to focus on, this is what I'm going to do. And then I started applying the things that I'd learned, that I started to make progress. Now, I haven't duplicated my offline brick and mortar corporate progress in the online world, but I'm not done yet. I'll continue to move forward, and I will make that happen. Today, we were talking about a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing for supersize your business. And I like this idiom. It's really interesting. A small amount of knowledge can mislead us. We can mislead ourselves. We can mislead others. We can mislead our ego. Might prevent us from seeing opportunities, but it also might lead us to making mistakes. And the example I shared was, following my sudden cardiac arrest, I went on a huge journey to discover and obtain physical well-being, physical health for myself, especially around the area of heart health. But focusing on the heart health, I missed out, as I wasn't an expert, on the importance of what's right for you or me as an individual. So I was doing all of these things, and a lot of them were very beneficial to my heart health, and I got really, really healthy. In 2011 is probably the healthiest I've ever been in my entire life, in all areas and aspects of my life. But in doing the things that I was doing that I learned about served me well in the shorter term, but in the long term, in 2017, I ended up reaching a point where I had a challenge that I couldn't walk. I literally couldn't get out of bed for about a 3-week span. And it was only 3 weeks because when I was in my 20s, I had about a 3-year period where I had humongous physical challenges. And it wasn't until I learned how to get out of that on my own that I got better, and I actually started to live my life again. And so this 2017 event really threw me for a curve, but immediately I decided, all right, this is what's going on with me. This is what the medical establishment says that they can do. Basically, they said, well, just take a deep breath and hold off and don't get out of bed for the next 3 months because our rheumatology expert cannot see you for 3 months. So, of course, I started looking for other answers, looking for alternatives, and I found them and from some different experts that helped me. And within 3 weeks of doing the things that they recommended I do and looked into, which were all about eating for my blood type and doing what was right for my body, I was out of bed. I wasn't 100%, but I was out of bed and I was moving again. I could at least make it to the bathroom, which was always a good thing, on my own, and everything started to turn around and get better. But that, to me, is a clear example of I had a little bit of knowledge in the area of health and fitness and wellness and what was good for your heart, but I didn't take into the whole account me as a whole human being, as a whole body, needed certain things and had to avoid certain things as an individual that were absolutely positively, yep, all studies led to these things being good for your heart, but for you they're like toxic to your body, and your blood has to now not only fight off the inflammation that's inherent in your particular body, my particular body, but it also has to fight off all these foods that it sees as poison and doesn't work for you. I think of hot peppers and cayenne peppers and things like that. After my sudden cardiac arrest, I loved those things. I still do, but I don't consume them in mass. But I was drinking apple cider vinegar every day and eating a lot of cayenne pepper and drinking and taking supplements and things that ended up being bad for me. So when I actually just sprained my ankle on one of my walks, and that sprained ankle, then I traveled in an airplane and I went to the ClickFunnels certification and got certified and flew to Colorado to visit my daughter and son-in-law, and that's where it hit. Is I literally, after the flying and everything, I could not walk. I couldn't get out of bed. And so, long story short, I needed to realize that I needed to look outside. And a lot of times, you know, it doesn't have to get to the point where we can't walk, we can't get out of bed before we search out experts and help. But it just goes to show that our ego and our desires and everything can come together to lead us down the wrong road for us if we're not careful. So that was what I was thinking about with respect to that idiom today, and how important it is. Excuse me, I now have an itchy nose, means I'm going to kiss a fool. My mom used to always say, if you have an itchy nose, it means you're going to kiss a fool. If your ears are tingling, it means somebody's talking about you. Well, mine is just, I have an itchy tip of my nose. Probably because it's so dry. Wisconsin winters are very dry. Even with the humidifiers running, it just seems so dry and statically. It's funny, I'll pull the covers back on my bed, and if the light's off, you can just see the sparks flying. I'm like, okay, that's how we know we've got too much electricity in the house. So a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. Love to know your experience with this. Have you found that, and I guess I'm thinking about what's going on in the world right now. You know, there's so much spin and twist and lies and manipulation and things that we just don't know and we don't see that are going on out in the world. And now we've got, you know, media in the United States that is complicit and actually, I think, criminally and in very negative ways impacting millions and millions of people, because they're taking a teeny kernel of the truth and they're twisting it and presenting it in a way that's propaganda. And for many people, if that's all they see, they're being cheated out of the opportunity to know what's really going on and to make their own decisions based on what's right for them, not what's right for a few key individuals that are trying to manipulate the system. It's really, I think it's really a ridiculous and scary time for some industries and some people here in America. And you know, hopefully more and more people will realize that the media is not our friend. I realized that in the 1980s. I was challenged in the mid-1980s to, as part of a training I was a part of, a week-long training, to turn off the news for a week and see what a difference it made in our lives. And it made a profound difference in my life. I used to go home every night after work and I'd turn on the news. Why? Because my aunt and uncle and my parents and most people did that. And you know, back in the 60s and 70s, it was okay to do that because we had real reporting. People that went out and asked who, what, where, when, why, and how, reported that, and then you got to think and decide for yourself what it meant, and especially what it meant for you. Now, there's a modicum of truth, a bit of kind of, it's not even hardly disguised as reporting anymore. It's like, here's this, here's a clip of it, the one we want you to see, and here's what you should think and conclude from that. There's no encouraging people to look into things that they're interested in and draw their own conclusions. It's all, here's the conclusions presented for you. Now, if they were honest and accurate representations of what was really going on, that would be, it still would be bad because people should think for themselves. I'm not even going to say that. But the fact that it isn't honest, it isn't right, it isn't fair, it's scripted and manipulated and sent out over the airwaves and coordinated in a way that's really appalling to any of us that have a journalistic background, any of us that really have a journalistic and ethical background. All right, I digress. So today, Get Up and Go Challenge, day 19. Yay, 19. We're doing the SOAP framework from our physical aspects, so the physical aspects of the SOAP framework. And we're on P for physical today. P stands for progress. So what do we do for progress? My favorite exercise, one of my favorite exercises, is the lifeline exercise. Another exercise I probably learned about this one. It might have been in the same training as the turn off the news. It was about taking, and wherever you are now, looking at your life. I always put the year I was born, and I'm not sure if we were taught to do that, but I think we probably were. The year you're born, and then just draw a big line, you know, dot where the year you're born, a line, and then I like to put an arrow, meaning my life is going to continue, and then at the end of it, this year. So this year's would be 2021. So let me show you. I just do a big graph, and I'm doing a big giant one this year to replace the terrible one I did last year. On a piece of cardboard, because it's big and I can look at it and I can hang it on the wall, of You know, I was born in 1960, so I put born 1960, and then I like to put a little arrow toward the end about my life is going to continue beyond 2021. I like to envision that. I think it's a good way to be. Now I just put my lifeline. So then for each area and aspect of my life, I'm going to graph it on here. So today I'll graph on my physical life. And I haven't decided what I want my measure to be. If I want it to be energy, well-being, not well-being. Yeah, well-being to me is more of a feeling thing or a thinking thing. So maybe my overall perfect health, physical perfect health. How do I define myself and how do I judge myself based on perfect health? And then I graph that out. So I love this lifeline exercise. I've used it at least 5 or 6 times last year. I've used it on different areas and aspects of my life. I'm going to do it again this year as I go forward with the Get Up and Go Challenge. But I like to move it around and use it in different areas and aspects of my life. Remember, we've got physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution, all those areas of our life. And I like to do examples of it, and I like to do it for myself in each of those areas and aspects of my life. Normally I only do it once a year, but since I've been doing the Get Up and Go Challenge, I started doing that last year. I did 5 30-plus day challenges, and whenever I do the 30-day challenges, I add this. I don't know that I did the first time. I don't think I added tools till about the 3rd challenge. August, October, December. So probably it wasn't until August that and I don't even know if I did in the August challenge. I'd have to go back and look at my challenge book from August to see if I actually did the lifeline. I don't know that I added or did tools in August. I think it was after my granddaughter went to school and I had more time to think about what I was doing that I added the tool a day to the challenge, which I think has been a really fun way to share some of the stuff that, you know, I learned over the years and that I continue to use on a regular basis. I mean, almost every tool that I'm teaching now in the 30-day plus challenge is something that I use, you know, regularly, like once a week or once every month for sure. Not for sure, but once every month. Like I said, the lifeline exercise I would do once a year, and I would just add the next year onto the end of it. I didn't just start over every time, but as I remembered more details, I'd go back and I would plug them in. But last year I started doing it a lot more often, and I'm figuring out more and more what works for me to take that information and use it in a positive way to continue to move my life in the direction I want to go. That's what progress is all about. I am moving toward what I want is progress. If I'm moving away from what I want, that's the opposite of progress. That's regress, or right? Yeah, regress. Egress is entry, regress is to go backwards, progress is to go forwards. All right, we got that. Centering challenge today was the second part of a 2-part challenge about centering ourselves, centering our soul yesterday, which my granddaughter helped me do that, my brand new granddaughter. And today is about centering our body. How do we center our body? And I do that personally, I think, through breathing, meditation. I didn't say meditation, but I thought about that right now. But through breathing, gratitude, meditation, focusing on the present moment, being present in the event or the circumstance that I am participating in. And for some of us, that is really hard. I have 2 ADHD children, so I suspect that even though I was born and went through school before the diagnosis phase of ADHD, that my brain works very similarly to how their brains do, meaning it's going off in a lot of different directions simultaneously, which causes me to challenge with focus, which if I look at my career and my life and my lifeline, I see a definite pattern of lack of focus throughout my life. Always doing a lot of things, but not necessarily focused all in one area, one thing. So online, I duplicated that same behavior, and I find that sometimes I'm all over the place because focusing in on one thing feels too small for me. I don't know why, but I'm working on that, and I am now focusing in on providing value to people through this Get Up and Go Challenge, because I know that it's a tool that everybody can use. Once we have a framework for dealing with change and challenge, we can use that and apply that in any area and aspect of our life, any situation. Because the one thing we can count on in life is that stuff's going to happen. Things are going to happen. It's going to change. Change is absolutely positively as inevitable as our imminent demise, our death, right? And that's not a bad thing. Everybody thinks death is a bad thing. Been there, done that, not that bad. So enjoy every bit of life that you've got and embrace change. If we embrace change, if we add a framework that guarantees we have better results after any change or challenge we face, and we put it in our subconscious so it happens automatically, we start to love change. I freaking love change. I love challenges. I go out of my way to find different things to challenge me. Yesterday, I was changing my granddaughter. She's 12 days old now, and I was changing her diaper yesterday, and I said, okay, I'm going to challenge myself to not upset her and not have her cry at all during this diaper change and just stay asleep, because she was sleeping, but I knew that she needed a diaper change. So my challenge was to try to keep her peaceful and resting while I changed the diaper. And of course, that's ridiculous, but I did it, and it was a challenge to see if I could. Because a lot of times, babies don't like having their diaper changed, and they'll get upset, and they'll cry, and they'll be awake. And so I wanted to keep her sleeping peacefully. So challenges, I think, are awesome. Because, why do I embrace change and challenge? Because I've had to go through so much of it and realized at one point, it isn't ever going to stop. It's like thinking that if we only find the right relationship, if we only make enough money, if we only hit it big on the lottery, we're going to be happy and our life will be awesome and we'll never have any problems again. Newsflash, no matter what happens to you, where you go, who you are, how much money you have, how healthy you are, how smart you are, you're always going to have challenges and changes and things and that people like to call problems and setbacks and roadblocks and failures. They're always going to happen. And it's how we deal with them that's absolutely positively the most important thing. And if we can install in our subconscious a framework for doing that, life just becomes so much easier. So Get Up and Go Challenge. All about you challenge, 365-day challenge, all about you, soul centering, and supersize your business. Now today happens to be my son's 30th birthday. I can't believe I have a 30-year-old, but I guess I can when I look in the mirror believe I have a 30-year-old, but it's my son's 30th birthday, so he and his daughter were having a sleepover, and I'm watching my granddaughter today, which I've been really missing, but she has a day off school. Thus, being back early and doing my videos back at the time I'm used to doing them for 2020. I'm used to being up at 4, doing my videos between 4:30, 5:30 or so, and then processing them before she comes in the morning. She'll be here at 8 today, so it reminds me of my days in corporate America when I would go to work hours before everybody else, because I realized, and it didn't take long, it took about a week before I realized I got more done in the mornings before anyone else came to work than I did in the whole rest of the entire week, just in one day. In one morning, I would get more done between 4 and 8 or 9. Some people came in at 8, some people came in at 9, but between 4 and 8, that 4-hour block, I would get more done than I could in an entire week of coming in at the regular time and, working 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, 9 to 5, whatever people work. I discovered that, and I never went back. Throughout my whole corporate career, I realized that, hey, even just an hour ahead of everyone else, you can accomplish so much more than once everybody gets to work and there's all these interruptions and you're pulled in a million different directions. Even in corporate, when I'd schedule and block out my time and things, it was still a lot more chaotic and a lot less would get done. Now, I'd still like getting up early and doing the brunt of things before other people are up and about, because I can get more done. Plus, I can interact with people all around the world. And in the online world, we are more global than we are central to wherever we happen to be located and what time zone we're in. So that's it. That's all I've got today. I've got a fun couple of days for my son's birthday, and I'm having a sleepover with my older granddaughter, and of course my younger granddaughter will be here too. So tons going on today. Super excited about that. It's always fun to have a day based on celebration and just enjoying who someone is, and I could not be prouder of my children, either one of them, my son and my daughter. My daughter's gonna be 27 in March too, so it's just like, and I might be turning 61 in March as well. Yikes. I guess it doesn't even faze me anymore, and it beats the alternative. Since I did the alternative when I was 50, I'm perfectly happy and delighted to have every single birthday that comes my way. All right, amazing day. If I can help you in any way, hit me up, asking the questions below. I may be a little slow to answer today, but I will get to it. That's it. Have a fantastic day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye.